My name is Margot Lee Shetterly. I'm a 1987 graduate of Phoebus High School, and I'm also a graduate of Eaton Junior High School, I guess it's middle school now, and Captain John Smith Elementary School. So I am 100% product of Hampton City Public Schools, and very proudly so. I'm the author of the book Hidden Figures, so that makes me a writer. Now that it's my first book and it's now been published, so I'm officially a professional writer. Hampton City Schools shaped me in a couple of very important ways. First of all, I think I got a fundamentally solid education here. I had good teachers who cared a lot. I had a range of challenging classes. I always felt that I was able to push up against my limits in the schools and in the classes that I was offered here. So I really appreciate the fundamentally good education that I received here in Hampton. The other thing that I think was really important, and this was really made clear to me during the research of my book, is that I went to an integrated Hampton City Schools. You know, it really wasn't that long after the schools integrated that I started going to school here. I went to school with white kids and black kids. There were children from Vietnam who had resettled here, kids from the Philippines. There were lots of military families. It was very economically diverse. So I went to school with the mayor's daughters, and I also went to school with kids from public housing. So I think the fact that great diversity, not just in terms of the background or the race or the ethnicity of the people, but also in terms of the economic background, was a fantastic way to grow up. It was a really wonderful way to meet people from different backgrounds and to get exposure to different points of view, liberal, conservative, absolutely everything I feel like I came into contact with in the Hampton City Public Schools, and I'm very grateful for that. When I went to first grade, in the first day of first grade at Captain John Smith Elementary School, my teacher was Mrs. Gwendolyn Chisman. And Mrs. Chisman is what the kids called a mean teacher, you know, which in retrospect means that she was an excellent teacher who really cared about the kids. She made sure we did our homework. She really, even though we were only 6 years old, pushed us to really stretch our abilities. And so the first day of first grade, Mrs. Chisman got in front of the class and she said, "This is it. This is first grade." And I still remember that because she said that to us as if we had walked into like a differential equations class in college, you know, in graduate school or something. We're 6 years old and she said, "This is it," you know, and the level of expectation that she had for us, even though they were just 6 years old, was so high, and I still remember that. And in retrospect, I appreciate it so much, and I'm sure it had a huge impact on my entire career. I graduated from Phoebus High School in 1987. I went to the University of Virginia and I studied finance. I went to the Commerce School and immediately went to go work on Wall Street. So I worked as an investment banker for the first half of the 1990s. I decided I wanted to change. There was this new thing called the internet just starting up and becoming very popular, and I thought that was quite intriguing. So I spent really from the mid-90s through the early 2000s working in internet media in New York. Really a fascinating time. I was in New York on 9/11 and stayed through the beginning of 2002, then took some time off to travel and came back to New York. Shortly thereafter, I met my husband, who was somebody who had also kind of worked in internet media, and he'd worked in publishing. And the two of us got married, we moved to Mexico, and we started an English language magazine for expats. Which was quite an adventure, to say the least. We lived in Mexico for 11 years. We ran the magazine for 3 years, then we closed it. We started another business, which was an internet consulting business, kind of trying to help tourism businesses in Mexico with translating and internet marketing. And in 2012, I came back here to Hampton and started working on what would become Hidden Figures. So for the last 4 years, we lived in Mexico, and I would come back here for big chunks of time for research. And 2 months ago, we moved back to the United States full time, and I now live in Charlottesville, Virginia. The most important thing about this book now coming out, and particularly about the enthusiasm that it's receiving, is it probably means that I'll get a chance to write another book. So I guess at this point, I can officially call myself a professional writer. And I'm embarking on what's probably my 3rd or 4th career at this point. So that's really exciting. I feel like I'm doing the most interesting and the best work that I've ever done. And it's building on all of the things that I've done previously. I think a lot of times when we're young, we think that we have to know exactly what we're going to do, and we've got this path, and if we don't, achieve X thing by the time we're 25, it's all over. And I just say that life is long and it's full of surprises and twists. And if you have the idea that you're always trying to do the best, whatever it is that you're doing, even if you fail, even if you come into, encounter a wall, eventually you're going to find the thing that makes you happiest and that you're best at. I feel like that's certainly been the case for me.